welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show live. I do this every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then also Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you happen to miss out on any of the shows, or you want to watch what we spoke about before, yesterday we had Coach on Coach Vusmuzi Bilagazi on. You can go back to on Facebook and on YouTube, follow the page there, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch back what we've spoken about there, and also see some really, really cool content that maybe is just a little bit too long for me to put on TikTok. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is going to be a weird conversation because it concerns what I do as well. And I want to speak about the effects, the impact of social media on the game, right? And if you look at what I have up there and what I have scrolling on Facebook, you'll see that we have Uluyolo there at the bottom right, bottom left. We have Ulen, who's the MacG. MacG's got a football podcast. We've got a TK Solutions. And then we've got, obviously, idiskitv. No, Khoza, no, it's not beef. It's not beef. I just want to speak about the general impact of social media on the game. And these are some of the biggest guys, you know. And I'm saying it's a bit sensitive or whatever because I'm also looking at myself too, because I'm also sitting here doing this. Kaizer said in an interview 3 weeks ago, when they were speaking about ntseki, he said that everybody's being unfair and overly critical of ntseki, and part of the reason is because everybody has social media now, and they can say whatever they want at any time when they get emotional. This is Kaizer's words. So I wanted to ask you guys as well as people who consume football. How do you guys take this social media stuff? And also we can speak about how it affects players. We can speak about how it affects any other facets of this. So I'm going to open up, guys. Remember that you have to be following me on TikTok. You have to join me on TikTok and be following on TikTok in order to be able to lend your voice to the show and be part of the panels. Once you are on TikTok, once I open at the bottom, there's a button ring multi-guest. Click that button and request to jump in. So I'm going to open and let's have this conversation. Let's see. Let me read some of these comments. Oh, Malume Kuto, welcome. To me says TK is clear of everyone here. Kaizer Chiefs will win the next 2 games and Ntseki will be accepted against Zamalek. So yeah, let's see. Sinjay, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
Man, thank you very much. I'm all right, man. How are you?
No, I'm good. Let's speak about this social media thing. What are your general thoughts about social media and how it affects football? It doesn't necessarily just have to be videos. It could be the Facebook groups, Twitter, all of that.
Yeah. Look, it affects football big time. I think because you must understand, social media is a prominent voice. It's an instant voice. There's no filter. There's no editing. It is a voice that is there. So depending on the numbers, then the louder the voice becomes. So it's not a voice where it can be silenced. It's not a voice where it can be ignored because it's an instant reaction. You know. So social media plays a very huge role. It can make or break a team, make or break a player. It affects. Let's look at Ungezana. Let's look at Ungezana, for example.
Yeah.
Look at what social media did, fans did when he made those mistakes. But look at how he bounced back. Look at how he bounced back. So it also tests the character of the player. It tests the mental strength of the institution itself. If you're not mentally stable, then you're going to crumble and fall. My only problem with social media, and in particular, some of the gents that you are putting up, you can, I can, you know what? If I can investigate Disky Times, I'm 100% sure I'm going to find Patrice Motsepe check there.
Ay. But let's not go there. Let's not go there.
I'm not going there. I'm just saying. I'm not going there. I'm just thinking. If I can dig deep enough, we will find a bonus check there for those guys. They're making it obvious. But anyway, social media is a good thing.
Okay.
I'm for it. I'm in support of it. I love it. I love what it's doing to our game. I love the conversation that it's creating. It creates multiple streams of conversation. We no longer have to listen to SAP Super Sport to have conversations about our football. We can have our football ourselves. We can for ourselves to connect throughout the world, throughout the globe. So social media is a force to be reckoned with.
Okay. I see Malume Kuto asked to go after Senzo. Senzo, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, and you, OT? What's up to the panel too?
No, I'm good, my brother. What are your general thoughts about social media and the impact it has on our football, let's say in the local sense?
I like social media, especially now, because now there's a lot of scrutiny. Now we don't have a lot of biased reports, because previously without social media, I felt a lot of our footballers directed into one place, and I think we're seeing the telltale of it now, where you see that the coaching, the people that we coach, the players that we have, sometimes the way the teams detect how they work, it really is damaging sometimes to our football. So when you have social media, now you can change the biased opinions of SABC1 and DSTV. Now everyone can place a proper opinion, and we can also, all of us can talk, I remember when Tembazwane was not in the squad, it's not people talking in the bed, but it was the social media, it was people talking in media would say, hey guys, Tembazwane, we need him in the squad, and look what happened, he came back into the squad. So yes, social media will have its benefits and not benefits, but for our local game, I feel like it's what we needed, especially in scrutiny, because I don't think if social media wasn't there, Banyana would have gotten the support that they got from us against Safa. Against Safa. So yeah, for now, for us, social media is what we need. We needed to also help us with transparency, because yes, the journalists are there, but we still need the important things to come out on social media, like for how much a player was bought for, how much a player is earning. So it's not just good to expose that a team's not playing well or we need to sign those ban, but let's start exposing the team. Good to know who's ban on sign on fee 2 million. E contract ban in just like we have in overseas football, where you can even find us. We even know Gutu Enema is living where, because of social media. Also, we need it with these things, transfers. Some of these transfers that have happened and really hurt teams like your Kaizer Chiefs not so long ago. If you have social media, then those stories can already be picked up, and those teams can be warned with, guys, there's something you didn't see. There's a clause in the contract you didn't see. Maybe this is something you should look at. And maybe it might give those teams a heads up, because I feel like sometimes maybe the other teams just have one iPhone and they're all sharing it. So they don't have time, all of them, to look through media,
Okay. Malume Kuto, are you good?
Mr. OT, ready.
Tell me, what are your general thoughts about social media and its impact?
This thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I audible?
Can you hear me? Oh, Kare, there's a problem here. I'm going to disconnect you. Malume Kuto, just come back. Let's see if maybe if you come back, it'll be fine. Alien, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Ever since you won that competition. Tell me, what do you think of your general thoughts around social media and its impact on our local game?
I think it's more like it's very impactful, because one thing I've realized is that during transfer windows, like it affects football when it comes to that most of the time, because most of the time, like, I feel like some of the media houses are just so biased and stuff, and I don't really get them. Why should they be like that? For example, let's talk about my favorite team, Kaizer Chiefs, actually. So every transfer window, like, they bring in names and names, which, like, at the end of the transfer window, it happens that, like, Kaizer Chiefs never wanted the player, something like that, and they kind of blame the team, all that kind of stuff. So the media, most of the time, I feel like the media trying to act as agents to the players
Okay.
in order to strive moves to the big teams. And that thing, like, that whole situation is kind of, I feel like it's not a good thing for the teams, because it sticks to the supporters. Let's say right now, as a Kaizer Chiefs fan, I have my favorite player from, let's say, Orlando Pirates and something like that. Then the media brings on the rumors about that player going to Kaizer Chiefs, blah, blah, blah. Then after the transfer window, the player never moved. Rumors again, the player never wanted to go to Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs never wanted the players. Like, that whole thing, like, destroys the belief that you have in the team, like, their direction and all that kind of stuff. So for me, the media, sometimes it's biased, sometimes it gives out, like, the information that we kind of need, but sometimes, like, it's just like fake news every time, which is kind of not a good thing for the football. Yeah, and
Okay.
even this thing of pundits, the pundits are doing, like, so much wrong, man.
Okay.
Because, for example, these two guys, they up there. I don't want to mention any names. Like, when Sundowns scores with the offsides, they don't say shit. They keep quiet. But let Kaizer Chiefs win like that, you'll hear them. You'll hear them, and it's very bad. It's not nice. They don't talk. They don't talk about how many players Sundowns sign every season and release no one. They don't talk about that. They only talk about the quality they bring in, but they don't talk about the quality that has been there and it's not doing anything.
Okay. I'm gonna come back because I've got specific questions that I want to ask around this too. What's going on? Let me just check what's happening here. Kumo, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. How's it, everyone?
No, hey, we're okay. We're good. So tell me, what are your general thoughts about the impact of social media on our game?
It can be a good thing and also a bad thing, but then again, it's what makes soccer more enjoyable for most people. I mean, like, yes, we watch the football on the pitch, but also it's a way for us to interact with our favorite teams and also other fans across the board. So the issue with pundits, like the previous panelist said, bruh, it's fine. It's entertainment on a different level. So to answer your question, I have no negative feelings towards social media impacting our football because it's a great platform if used correctly.
Let's talk about that, Sinjay. Let's talk about the use of it. How do you feel about anybody having access to be able to say anything? We fight amongst us as fans. We have feelings about Junior Khanye, for example. How do you feel about just anybody being able to do anything, even myself?
Listen, I think maybe because I'm a person that embraces things. I don't have a problem with people having their own spaces and voices. I only start to have a problem when you don't do your job. If you're going to take charge of the space, right? I expect someone to take their job seriously. Do your research. Get as much facts as you can. I'm not saying you're going to be right all the time, but at least just do your research. Ensure that you've got proper proper documents and proper information. You don't go around with an article that is written from a columnist that has no editing or no credibility at all. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's when that's when I start to have a problem. It is when you have a show such as the overthinking football, and then you don't do your research. You just talking for the sake of talking. People that are following you can do that, but as the content creator, as the person that is in charge of the space, I'm expecting a little bit of professionality in a way to do your research. That's why I've become very frustrated with some of these gentlemen above you in this picture. I'm trying to block them because they irritate the living hell out of me. Because because I'll make an example.
Okay.
There's a video when they were saying when Jamulo Blom Chiefs was not renewing his contract, right? And they were like, no, Chiefs, he doesn't want the boy. No. Why don't you call the agent? Find out from Kaizer Chiefs. This is what they're saying. Now Rob Moore comes in and explains what happened. Then you realize the thinking behind Junior Motaung. Now you understand what he was thinking and what the conversation was about. And all along, it makes the thousands and thousands of people that these people have misled. See, that's my only problem. I don't have a problem with people occupying spaces. I'd love for them to do a little bit of research.
Okay, no. Thank you. Senzo, I'm gonna come to you. Should these things what's some of the responsibilities that people should have when we have these type of platforms?
I think football is a forever changing landscape, you know. The only problem I feel with South African football, we trust our former players and people who have been in football in a professional sense. They might have a certain knowledge, but football is changing. So me watching soccer for 10 years and watching Premier Leagues and whatnot will give me a certain insight into how football is played or how, generally how things are going. So I might have a better and knowledgeable or more analytical viewpoint than a player. You know, not everybody who's played soccer can coach, or not everyone who can play soccer is a commentator. And that's I feel is the poison that we have in South African football. You look at players like Dingan Mabelan. He might have been a good winger, but he's not a great analyst, you know. So in South African football, you just see us, we just recycling. I was surprised the other time when I saw Teko Modise is counted as a Sundowns legend, and for me, Teko Modise made his name. He made his name at Pirates. You know, he classified as a Pirates legend, but now Sundowns has taken him to be a marketing manager and. He's doing that because he's played for the thing. Yes, he's a former player, but maybe he's not good at the marketing. Maybe he's not good at, you know. So I feel like with social media, you open up the spaces. Like with your show, you know, we never knew OT knows football. You know, we never knew OT can lead us a conversation. Go, no, guys, let's talk about this. You know, and it's refreshing to hear new voices. It's refreshing to hear new intake. You know, yes, we might not have the questions, but if we have a platform like this, then people who have better knowledge, just like Senji was saying, that when you have a show, then you do your research. Obviously, like yesterday, Peter was in there. Apparently, Coach Vusi was there. Coach Vusi was there. When your platform gets big, then it opens up challenges for all these other people to come join us and give us better insight. Maybe we might not understand what it goes into signing a player. You know, you can get a player, a agent, but then if you have us as fans, we can be unbiased. We can be honest. Football lovers, we can be just straight to the point. Good, you know what? As much as we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sundowns is the ones that are running the league. So it's very few you can say that is bad. But, you know, if you don't listen to this one and you listen to this one, and you're like, this one is biased, this one is funded by who. So when you have your independent shows, your small shows, then we can start voicing our opinions. I feel like it will even open up the fan base. Maybe maybe OT, the way you talk about your team, and maybe you were supporting Skukuna, it excites me and I want to be a fan. Maybe you have an influencer who's born in Whoa, good so.
Yeah, okay. No, there we go.
Yeah, maybe you have an influencer who's a fan of Chippa United and he starts talking about Chippa United, and now you bring new type of eyes and new eyes to the game. So social media cannot be seen as a bad thing. Yes, change is scary and it will be difficult. Growing is always difficult, but when you see the benefits of growing, it makes us stronger. So for our league to be carry on the level that it is, we have to continue. We really have to continue opening up the platform for different voices, not just soccer players, not ex-coaches, it must be everybody.
Okay. Kuma, what responsibilities should social media, content creators, people who facilitate groups on Facebook and all of that, what responsibilities do you think we should have within this landscape of social media?
You know what, ne? I don't want to use the word responsibility because some form of accountability, right?
Okay.
Look at, like, you shouldn't do anything vulgar or anything that can help, that can hurt someone in any way or form. But my point is, ne, if OT, you open up your own platform, ne, and you wanna share whatever opinions, and if you are biased towards a certain thing, that is fine. It's your own platform. And if anyone doesn't agree with that, they are also welcome to their own platform where they can be all non-biased, they can give all the information that you guys think being fairly. Like I said, ne, I'm gonna take Junior's Khanye, for example. As many of you don't agree with what he says, but the fact remains that this guy is much more relatable to the more to your more established super sports people. Because of this guy, he speaks on a level of a fan.
Okay.
And whatever even if you don't agree with what he says, but at the end of the day, it's what he thinks. It's his opinion. And the reason why people like him so much, he brings a following. You know what I mean? So yeah, in terms of responsibility, as long as you're gonna put your opinions and your thoughts in a positive way, regardless of how we feel about you, if you are not factually, it's fine.
Okay. Malama Kuzo, welcome. Are you back now?
I think I'm back, and I hope I'm back.
Let's start. I'm going to give you a chance to give your general thoughts. Then I'm going to ask you what type of responsibilities or what rules, should there be rules to this social media thing?
Well, I'm happy the introduction of social media. And knowing South Africa, we are very active, extremely active on social media. So for social media to be contributing to football and in a positive way is a great step. Unfortunately, I just have a problem with certain, how do I put this? Certain creators and how they voice their opinions. And I believe we live in SA, guys. We have to be in touch with reality. We have to understand our people and how they take issues and whether your words are encouraging or whether they break. You understand? Unfortunately, what social media exposes us to, because Akuna the BCCSA is angry people. There's a content creator, I know, he's an angry individual. He sees nothing positive, how he expresses himself. So in that regard, we can limit it a bit. Just the second question, I missed the second part of your question.
It was about what responsibilities, what rules. I think you touched on it there. That what rules should there be rules? Should we have a BCCSA?
I was about to say there should be rules, and you know, with everything, laws are sometimes reactive to wrongdoings and abuse. You understand? So once you see that there's a loophole that people are exposing because there are no laws, you put laws in place to say you can't do this. You can't just tarnish someone's name, because sometimes, guys, I've seen some campaigns against Mtobi Mvala. There was a campaign, guys, and luckily Mtobi Mvala ngathi uyaphahla properly and he's got the right support at Sundowns. From the day he Sundowns, he was criticized, and he came there as a goal-scoring machine for Highlands Park, as an attacking player who was doing extremely well, as a player who was so important for South Africa that when we lost him, go the Olympics, we crumbled. So because we don't see football the same way, that boy, there was a campaign, and there was even a campaign against Lodge and Tembazwane. You see, the thing I hate about us as social media people is that we defy proverbs that you can't have your cake and eat it. We always have our cake and eat it. We will say something, and when it goes south, we look the other way and we say, remember when I said that right thing? I mean, at some point, Ulosh Nochembers are criticized for not having proper development. But today, they are stars, and he knows. The guy knows. I've been criticizing these guys because you must be properly developed. You must come from a development structure. Whereas, in actual fact, people are different. The same water that hardens an egg softens a potato. You can go to the best development structure. You understand?
Okay. What's happening?
Am I still audible?
Yeah, you're still audible. Hey. Okay, I'm gonna come back, Kutz. I'm gonna come back to you. Sinjay, I wanna stick on this accountability thing. You know? I know, like about Junior Khanye say a lot of things. I've said a lot of things. A lot of people have said a lot of things. And it seems as though it riles people up, or it may get people to think a certain way. I'm going to come back to you, Kutso. There was just a gap there. It riles people up. Should we be held accountable as content creators for those type of things? So now let's say I make a video on ntseki and it goes viral and somehow it leads to something. Should we be held accountable, or is it the Wild West?
Look, I think for me it is a Wild West. I don't want any rules and regulations, because the rules and regulations what create biasness in the first place. I want you to be able to say what you want to say and say it the way you want to say it. But when you get proven wrong, have the audacity to come back and say, listen, this is what I said about this guy, and he has proven me wrong. Do you know what I mean? Don't act as if you never said. Don't act. That's what I don't like about those two orange hoodies there. And they will say something, and then they will get proven wrong, and then they will act as if they never said it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, they will act as if they were not the ones that were howling and huffing and puffing. You know, when you say something, this is my belief. When you have the right to say whatever you want to say, say it the way you want to say it. That's what creates the conversation. But when you get proven wrong, please give the person the same energy that you are giving when you are criticizing them. Goes with the player as well. If you can say this player is that, but when the player does good, please acknowledge him. It means that we are human. It means that we're not robots. It means that we're thinking. We don't have any personal vendettas against each other. It's just a conversation of football.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Let me look into the comments quickly. Frank, are you available? I think you can request now. Frank, just request and then I'll let you in. Sanzo, should there be a level of accountability? Should I look at Junior Khanye a certain way if things go right or wrong? Should we be holding me accountable, anybody else accountable? Well, what do you think about the accountability of this social media age?
I think with social media, accountability is in eating humble pie. If you stand on what you say and you get it wrong, then your accountability will be you being eating humble pie. People will stop listening to you. The people will stop listening to you if you keep saying things that are not relevant or things that are not true. People will stop listening to you, and regardless of what you can say, Junior Khanye is still making the numbers. So it's clearly there's a relevance, or there's whatever he's saying, there's a certain truth to it, you know. So for me, I think the accountability, just like in peeing yourself, you know, we can all see it to look like a fool, but only you will feel it. So I don't think we need a regulation board or anything like that to police those things. Yes, we still have people who can sue. You can sue someone for defamation of character, and I don't think that is does it transcend to social media? So if someone is tarnishing your name, then I can understand. But if someone is critical of you, then you must be accepted. That's the price you have to pay for being a footballer. You know, it's one of those things that come. That's why in development overseas, they train these kids on how to deal with media and being famous, because it comes with a package, you know. So you can't say, I want to be a football star, but you don't want the constant criticism. We say, even us as football fans, that you're only good as your last game. So we need to start accepting that. And for me, a sign of a growing and a strengthening civilization is where we can have dialogue, disagree, and find a middle point. So if we want to always be biased and have a certain level of talking, go to, no, this way, you can't say this, then who are we building? Because we're not building, we're just policing. We're just policing content. And I think what makes content interesting is when we have different types of views. That's why we have different shows, and yes, you can say whatever you want, but the proof is always in the pudding. It's always in the pudding. So if Junior Khanye is not doing the things, then we'll see the numbers go down. We'll see the channel go down. But if the numbers going up, it means that there's certain relevance. There's people are listening to him. People understand him, and there's certain truth towards it, you know. So for us to want to be we might not like what he says, and I think that's the one thing that's hard to accept, is we don't like what he says, but we have those type of people. We have those people that won't be so critical. We'll have those people who are, you know, but that's where the open field opens. If you don't like what Junior Khanye is doing, start your channel, start talking about how good your team is, or whatever is making you happy, and then let's see if we'll follow you. But the most important thing is no one must be filtered on what to say and how to express themselves, because once we do that, then we're gonna kill our football. And the one thing that's killing our football is these secrets, all these secrets that you don't know, who's signing who's the agent, who took this one for transfer, how much is this one earning, how much did they pay to sign this one. We just see things just all of a sudden on the media pages. Super Sports signed Uzbanban. You don't even see what, okay, Uzbanban are looking for this, or they are looking for this. We just hear he's been signed, you know. So that needs to change, especially in our football.
Kuno, accountability. Should there be accountability? Should it be enforced externally? Should we be holding people accountable for having platforms and saying certain things?
Whenever you open any social media platform, you tick on the T's and C's. Unfortunately, we live in a democratic society whereby we have laws and regulations. Like I said, social media can be used for good and bad, but luckily for us, if people are inciting violence and if people are slandering someone necessarily, like it's a smear campaign that is meant to tarnish someone's image, and then obviously that person should be taken to court. But like if you want to take a panel or a board that's gonna regulate what we say, no man, then you're gonna lose the essence of that of banter amongst us sports fans, you know. But like I said, we're human, we are emotional beings, and sometimes we will be biased. But that's exactly why you watch our shows, because you want to listen to what we have to say. Like I said, we don't have to be factually all the time, but then again, it is what makes the show because of what I say. But also you have to be responsible, eh? You don't wanna harm someone, because there's also cyberbullying that might occur, and there's also bullying in like physical bullying based on, because as a person, OT, you are very influential. And some people might misread or mishear what you say and do some awful things to that person because of it.
Okay. Malume Kutso, I think you're back proper now.
Yeah, I think so. I pray to God which I'm back. This week has been bad.
Tell me about accountability. Should content creators, should people who own Facebook groups, should people who tweet, should people who have spaces on Twitter and give out their opinions and things be held accountable? So say now I say something really bad about ntseki. or I say something that makes him get attacked tomorrow or adds to a certain anger, should I be held accountable on that?
Yes, 100%. People should be held accountable. In as much as we like these rhetorics that I say what I like, or if you don't like what I'm saying, then listen to something else. That's very wrong. That leads to a very vile nation. People need to account with every right that one has. It's followed by a responsibility. I think that we were taught grade 4 LO. If you have a right to speak, you have a responsibility not to offend others, or rather not to insult others. You understand? And if I just want to respond to the part whereby we say the proof is in the pudding. If the proof is in the pudding, how is Tembazwane still the best in the country? How is Peter Shalulile now chasing the all-time goal scorer when he was said he's not Mamelodi Sundowns material? He was described. You know, I'm sorry. I love Khanye. I love his story. I love people who start from the bottom or who fall and come back and conquer again. But we also have to tell the truth. Peter Shalulile was said he's not a campaign was started immediately, and sometimes I'm sorry, sometimes there's an undertone, especially at some teams, even both Chiefs, these foreign players, we treat them badly. I've seen people complain about the Ahly legends, how they were treating Pitso, and I was like, you'll definitely don't know how you treat these foreign players. We lambast them. I only know of basically one foreign player who has never been ill-treated when he's tempted people with they must ill-treat him, and that's Unda with Pirates. That is the only guy I know he's received unconditional love. Everyone else, and I'm talking about African foreigners, we've bashed them, and some social media platforms have helped us bash them proper. So Mina, I really believe people should be held accountable. If you start a campaign up on someone which aluse sponsor, there should be a red flag on you, because it's actually that you are actually starting a campaign. You are decampaigning someone. You understand, to lose their livelihood. So if it's unfounded, I understand it's football and we have different opinions. But if we have players who are doing well, you cannot just decampaign them because you like a specific player. Or when you feel football can only be played in a specific way. Another player who was decampaigned badly, and today people are waking up and they're smelling the coffee because the aroma of the coffee is extremely strong right now, is Daniel Akpe. Daniel Akpe was decampaigned as a bad keeper because there's Ukune Mzansi's finest, the best South Africa has ever produced. Why? I don't care who says what. No, guys, Daniel Akpe was doing extremely well for Chiefs. And today, Chiefs regrets. And I can tell you, the entire board, all the fans, everyone associated to Chiefs regrets letting go of Daniel Akpe.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is we cannot allow, guys, we cannot allow funny tendencies, because what this opens up the gate for is for me to come here every day and say, you know what, Mr. Otis got a good following. I don't like Bandile Shandu. I'm going for Shandu. I'm going to highlight what Shandu lacks every day, every week, until someone achieves, or coach, the great coach who blessed us with his presence yesterday, until coach decides which I'm benching him because the entire OT panel does not like him. Come on, Chiefs. People need to be held accountable.
Okay. Sinjay, I want to speak about the effect it has on players, right? What type of effect does social media have on players, and is enough being done to protect them or to teach them or to, just make sure that they can navigate these waters?
Look, maybe it's because the Kulile Elokshin. I don't believe in this protecting players. I don't believe in protecting players and all of that. I listened to a conversation between Kobe and Shaq, and I listened to when Shaq left the Lakers, and everyone was saying that Kobe they would never win anything, and Shaq won his his third ring. His fourth ring. And him and he had 3. And I listened to Kobe saying, I listened to the social media, I listened to people bashing my name. And he said, I fed from that. I absorbed that. I used that on every time I stepped into the court to actually create the monster that he became, to win the next 2 rings, to have 5 rings. Now I'm thinking, how many of our players absorb what is being said about them and turn energy into something they can use to be dynamic in the pitch, instead of feeling sorry for yourself for what is being said. You can take any energy that is said against you, turn it into something good. That's where I think our players lack training in mind stimulation, mind training, energy absorbing, channeling that energy into becoming a force. You know, I listened to the guys from England. They were talking about how they lost the match against South Africa. The captain said, it took me to sit down with Sehoana when I realized that we had lost the match before it even started because of the mental state Springbok players, what it meant to step into that field on the day. He says we were in different zones.
But shouldn't we be implementing some things? Because I hear what you're saying, but isn't it an issue where I do a step over in the game, then I'm trending all day the following day? If I do something wrong, I'm trending the whole the next day, and I'm absorbing all those things. Not every player is going to be able to deal with that. Shouldn't we be trying to protect them? Especially, let's say, for example, Shabalala does something in a match, and the next week, man, Tenda with TikTok, all of his videos is doing this. Don't these things hurt players as well? And is it too much to expect all of them to be able to handle it?
For me, then you don't belong into the professional realm of football if you can't handle that. I think that's something that you need to be trained. You need to be trained in terms of when you do something, when the reaction comes, you ought to be competent in ensuring that you come out of that sticky situation. You can't fool yourself. And I liked what Arthur did with Ungezan. He said, okay, with this heat that is coming around your name, I don't think that you are in a good mental state to face it. Stay in the bench. Stay in the bench and bring it in slowly. You make good tackles, people will clap. So on, then it becomes part of us on the starting lineup. Do you get what I mean? Let's look at Blom. Let's look at Jabulo Blom. When he was playing midfield, Junior Khanye was saying, his natural position is right back. His natural position is right back. Criticism after criticism. And the boy proved him wrong. Look at him. He's one of the best center players in the MSL, in the West Conference. So that you have to take those energy, take it and turn it into good. He even said that himself, that you have to absorb what is being said about you.
Okay. Let me bring in Usenzo. Senzo, same question to you. Should we be protecting players? Are teams doing enough to make sure that the players, at the very least, have they've got the tools to deal with things like that? They've got the tools to deal with instant fame. They've got the tools to deal with trending because of something. They've got the tools to deal with Junior Khanye saying something and then everybody agreeing and everybody. Should we be looking out for them, and is enough being done?
Firstly, I want to say, pundits are human. Not everyone's gonna get every prediction right. Regardless if you say Teko's the best, someone might say Teko's not the best. We all have different opinions, and sometimes we will get it wrong. I understand the part where they say same energy, but I feel like when someone criticizes you, it's up to you if you take it or not. There's a famous saying that not everyone who speaks to you must listen. So especially if you're going to be playing in a professional setting where it's a very competitive game and it's cutthroat, for the money that you're getting, for the job you're doing, obviously there's 1,000,001 people who want to be doing the same thing you're doing. So obviously a level of criticism will come with that. So I feel like clubs should be doing media training for these guys. They should be helping them how to deal with people, what they're saying, how you should conduct yourselves. A good example is Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson tells you, Friday when you go into camp, leave your phones, not watching TV or all as a group, because you want to keep that mentality. But these days you find for players on the pitch with their phones, they're listening to earphones. You allow yourself to take that type of criticism. It's unrealistic to think that everyone's going to love what you're doing. That's not the world we live in. People are not going to like what you're doing, and you can't be listening to everybody. So the same thing as players. If the teams are not doing those things, your agent, your manager should be helping you with those things. You should be having someone helping you how to deal with the level of fame that you are getting, because it's you find some critics are. Yes, they'll be very critical. They'll be even maybe even wrong with their opinion. But yes, that's the thing we like about football, to prove some people wrong. Some things might happen that they'll encourage the player. Sometimes the player will get criticism and he'll rise from the criticism and be a better player. This thing of not criticizing people has destroyed our player. A lot of players that we could have had if Junior Khanye, for example, got the type of criticism that he's giving to other players. If he was told, you can't stop playing with your talent, you're a talented player, stop doing this. How many players would we have saved? We've lost so many players to things as seduction, girls, alcohol, drugs, and those things we could have kept and protected in the beginning when it starts. You look at Greenwood now. Greenwood is a young player. He was facing a very big thing, and he's a young player. But at least we've stopped him He's from a young age he's learned this, so he's not going to continue it into his age Magakula. So you need to have criticism so that you can sometimes protect the good players, because sometimes when you're good, no one tells you to stop. Everyone says do whatever you want. No more train now. Don't come train when Anjevele came in. And that thing starts from election. And then when you start signing for Chiefs, you think that's going to happen, but it won't happen. It has to change. So for a certain level, I can understand that maybe they're being too biased or being too critical, but at the same point, you must remember that if you don't do that, you're not hard to some people. Some people might be lost by their own demons. And imagine the players. Think of the list of players we've lost. How many good ex-legends we've lost, and they didn't even play to their prominence or their full potential because what? Because they didn't get the correct criticism in the right time.
Let me come into Kumo. Kumo, we speak about Abu Chabupule, Abu Junior Khanye, and in their time we see what, not even just hate, the excessive love and the excessive, all of that did to them. And they lived in a time when, they played in a time when there was no social media. And now, Chabupule doesn't have to go to Bloemfontein to be showed love in Bloemfontein. Now everybody can throw it exactly to your phone, right into your phone. Should these players be protected from that or trained? Should it be one of the requirements that a club should have them be able to deal with or learn how to deal with? Are players being protected, and should they be protected?
First of all, these players are professionals. And as much as we celebrate their goals and achievements, and we love them every time, the same should be also the same for they should also be open to criticism as well. But like I said, like mental health affects a player very much. Like if a player has low self-esteem, it shows on the pitch. So I believe big teams, I don't know about the smaller ones, but big teams I know, they do go through media training, they do go to psychiatric evaluation, and they do have some therapy as well. But as a fan, we invest in the clubs and players emotionally as well. So like if I'm going to buy their regalia, if I'm going to spend data and watch them online, if I'm going to pay my idiskitv subscription to watch them play, if I'm going to buy petrol in my car to go watch them and buy a ticket stadium and buy food at the stadium, I'm investing financially. And if you are playing mediocre football, I'm allowed as a fan to tell you, hey guy, you're not playing well. And if you find it harsh, like obviously I'm gonna be harsh because, like I said, I'm financially, emotionally invested. So my approach to you won't be like your mom and say, "Oh, my son, today you didn't play your best football. Maybe next time try this." No, I'm gonna express the way I feel, and as a fan, I'm allowed to do so. And as a player, as a professional player, you should be able to handle it because also you are a public figure. You signed up for this. So now if you won't tolerate such things, Amagai, then you should just become someone who's not on the public platform. But then again, also as fans, we should also be responsible not to go overboard.
Okay.
Because these are people as well.
Okay, no. Malume Khutso, should these players, even coaches, should they be protected? Should teams be doing more to protect the players? Because, as I was saying, it's not necessarily also just the hate. Sometimes the excessive love and the amount of attention and all of that these players get. Should they be protected? Are teams doing enough to protect them?
Well, I'm only going to comment on the face of it because I wouldn't know what goes on behind closed doors with these players. They should be protected. Proper media training, and to a certain extent, I do agree with the gents on the panel that these guys are professionals. It relates to that the 800K coach Arthur that he's taking our 800K at the end of the day, at the end of the month. So it comes with the territory, understand? And also, I just want to comment on two favorite players of mine, but I forgot the third one. One of them, Vini Jr. Guys, Vini Jr. was once a joke. There was a trend on TikTok where I think when you would approach Ahly, they would say Vini Jr. and the guy would miss. Like he was known for missing to a point where Karim the Dream spoke about him, which let's not pass Vini. He's playing against us. You understand? And today he's one of the best. He took it in, conquered. Thibaut Courtois is another one. Useless at Chelsea. Well, not necessarily useless, but not as effective as he is at Real Madrid because I think that guy gets 17 shots per game and they're all crucial saves. The other one that I had forgotten is Marcus Rashford. When the chips are down, I like people who can rise up when the chips are down, come back and conquer all, you understand? Which is why I also like Khanye in that regard. But if we want to choose the ultimate, I just want to display the impact of the social media bullying that we call criticizing. If you want to see the impact of it, I'll give you the ultimate professional in sports history, and that's Cristiano Ronaldo. That he was criticized to a point that he felt it. If Cristiano can feel a change, if Cristiano can ignore the Liverpool legend after the game, I mean, before he came, when beating the other guys, just think about the guys who are not as strong, guys. Cristiano is the ultimate. His body tells you his evolution and his revolution change in how he plays football, in how he improved his strength because he's goal oriented. Tells you he's the ultimate professional, and if he can feel Ilona Pandent, what about your Mvalas guys? What about those guys? We can't pretend as if it's nothing and allow people to abuse our players. It's wrong. It's wrong. And with freedom of speech, I will always say there is a responsibility to respect others. And if you want to criticize, show us at least some level of credibility to say you criticize the other guys who we know they're close to your heart. I want to move away from the idiskitv guys because
I think you're just getting further and further away.
Yeah. So I just want to say there's another guy, man, who just goes at Mduduzi Shabalala. I've tried to comment on his post to say stop it, man. The boy is young. You're really killing the guy. Guys, Mdu is a star player. He came in against King. What were you playing? The game you lost. His first touch, he killed the ball in the 18. He tried to take it on as a Mokwena. You can see his mind. He's a go-getter, guys. So at some point, we need to understand there's a difference between criticizing and critiquing. And we need people to critique. Just like how we are saying, which these guys are professionals and we expect different conduct from them. Even guys in these social platforms, we expect plus human standard from them to say you are doing it better. You understand? So in that regard, I also believe because we live in a country where we allow things to get to Musa Kaula level, we need teams to invest in training in social media, invest in how to ignore certain spaces. I don't think if you're playing for Chiefs, you must go and shop Maponya more. Not because Maponya is too low for you, but trust me, you will know what you're playing for Chiefs. We know the bench warmers at Chiefs. We know people who've played about 20 games for 3 years. But Bruce Voma, I can spot Bruce Voma from, Bo Happy Mashian. We know these guys. Some guys came and left Coach Chiefs, never really played. But we know them. We know Botelangoveni. We can tell you about Motsepe. You can, Motsepe, because of the magnitude of the team. So they have to be advised with, hey, Mbana, your life is different. And people sometimes lose their mind. Instead of giving you positive feedback when you've lost, someone will tell you what he thinks your mother looks like. You understand? So they must prepare them. And after a loss, stay away from social media. Stay away. My favorite, well, not necessarily my favorite, but our player, Go Pirates, his biggest mistake was going onto social media after a loss, and that was like a little pass. That was a big mistake because after a loss, we lose all sorts of love for you. You must ask Boloj. After a loss, we will tell you exactly how we feel. And how long we've been feeling and what we think should happen to you and your entire family. You understand? So you cannot. And 2 days later, we are singing Tem because number 10. So they have to be trained with Mbana. After a specific time, after a certain event, stay away. It gets bad. It's a bloodbath out. So in that regard, I think we should give them some more training.
Okay, I think I
know.
I want to jump in for a little bit because I think that I'm on the fence because on one side I do understand it. Like I do understand. Look, man, you've got a job, you've signed up for this, you live a life. There's a quote by the guy from, I don't know if you guys watched Big Bang Theory. There was a guy there, not Sheldon, the other one. They interviewed him and they said, "How do you deal with criticism and hate and fans and all of that?" And he said, I can't live the life that I live and walk my family down the red carpets and, I earn a lot of money, I've got a lot of love, I've got all of that, and then complain about paparazzi or the other side because it's two sides of the same coin. The reason why I'm earning so much as a player, let's say I play for Chiefs, the reason why I'm there and I'm being watched and I'm loved and I've got all of these monies and things is because I'm playing for a brand. So the same energy that can put me up there is the same energy that you're going to get if you do badly or if you're being criticized. So at one point, it's that balancing thing. Even myself, for example, some of my comments are crazy. One of my Facebook comments, if I could show you guys some of the things, but it's part of the job and what I signed up for. It's part of doing this thing, right? That sometimes you'll get those things. That's the one side. The other side is, guys, I don't think you can be made ready for the type of love, the type of interactions, the type of fans, the type of all of this that you'll get the moment you put on a Chiefs, Pirates, or Sundowns jersey, the moment you put on a Real Madrid jersey. I don't think, you can be prepared to that extent, especially if you're young, especially if you're like a Shabalala. Maybe the one day you do open your Twitter, or you do open your Instagram and there's DMs and there's tags and there's people talking about you. Sometimes you're not even tagged, you're trending. I don't know how that feels, and it would be unfair for players not to be given some leeway there, but also not to be trained, to look after that. One of the reasons, like, for example, Atazwani, one of the reasons why, for example, I was somebody who was a little bit against that signing is, as a first-time coach, right? When you're coaching Kaizer Chiefs, the tactics is the last thing you look at. You have to deal with the media. You have to deal with the fans. You have to, if you lose, Bang Puma, I might get thrown with things. You might have all of these things that you have to deal with, right? And sometimes it becomes unfair if they haven't been taught those things. So we watched him learn public relations in the middle of the thing. He would say some things and you'd be like, yo, Arthur, if only you knew Gucci, that thing you said was wrong, you know? So I think everybody's learning and all of that stuff. I do, though, still say you do need to have some thought about what you're signing up for. You're not signing up for Sunday League, you know? You're signing up for playing for a big team, let's say like Chiefs. You're signing up to play for Chiefs. So in as much as we all want to behave, if Chiefs has 1 million fans, you cannot expect all 1 million fans to move in a certain way. If Pirates has 1 million people, you can't expect all of those people to move in a certain way. There will be a lot of things that will happen to you that are bad. But also, here's the fact that you do something that a lot of people only dream about. Also, on that side, the good side, the opportunities are incredible. It's huge, you know. Sinjay, I want to speak about teams now. Are teams embracing social media? Because sometimes it feels as though the PSL teams are a bit behind in understanding social media, in using social media, in controlling social media.
Look, I think I read Kaizer Chiefs social media policy, and I looked at it and I said, okay, I think they want to be involved in social media, but they understand the danger of social media. So they are playing sort of like a safe surfing of the social media.
Okay.
They want to use social media as safe as possible, because you must understand social media has a tendency of creating a bomb and unleashing it in front of your face.
Yeah.
So I think teams are adjusting to social media because they realize that you can sign a player and then call a media briefing to release the player, but you need social media to create the buzz around that. You know, the Chiefs Twitter account tweets about to reveal 5 new signings. You know, it creates so they are using social media as safe as possible and as productive as possible. They're not using social media for the social aspect of social media. They are using it to promote as a medium of communication.
But then should they? Because I saw Ubab Kaizer. One of the things that made me speak about this was Ubab Kaizer came out and said, you know, molefi, it's unfair, the criticism. He's only just started, and it's because this social media, anybody can say anything. But it's the same energy they use when they're dropping a kit, when they're marketing themselves. The reason why Kaizer Chiefs is as big as it is partly because of that energy too. Is it fair for teams to come out and say these type of things to us or fans or whoever?
Marupa Kaizer is old. You can't expect him to be saying something. I don't want to use the word productive about social media, but you hear the comment and you can see that it fits the age. It's not said by their media officer. Do you get what I mean? Whereas I think if it was said by their media officer, then I would have that conversation. But Kaizer as and I would also say he must stay away from social media himself.
But wouldn't you say that influences the team? If the owner, if Ubab Kaizer is saying these type of things, wouldn't that influence? I remember saying here that if you give Ubab Khoza a phone and say make a TikTok, he probably doesn't know. But because he's such a leadership person there, wouldn't that influence some of the interaction that the team would have?
For some odd reason, I don't think so, because you've got Ubab Kaizer who said that, And the next thing you see with Jessica Motaung using Twitter, using social media as a tool and embracing social media as well, and speaking highly on social media. So I think Upa chairman was speaking obviously as a chairman, trying to create a point and ensuring to the public their confidence in the new coach. Imagine if he said if he didn't make a statement that solidifies, and I think that's where I thought the statement was about, was to solidify the presence of Ntseki as a head coach by creating some sort of a backing from the management. So if he didn't say that, it meant that we would raise question whether the management has full backing on Ntseki as a
Okay, no, I hear you. Senzo, are teams embracing social media? Are teams using social media, especially locally? Do they understand what they have?
It's very difficult, this one, because as much as we want teams to do their social media, the social media in football, especially in football influencing and content creating, is fairly new. I think it's 2010 it's the first time we've seen so many up and coming football show, podcasts, all of these football related content creation. It's very new. When you look at versus our overseas combatants, they've been doing social media for 5 years following football. So for us, it's still new. So if for us, just for entertainment purposes, it's still new, imagine what the teams in a professional capacity, it will be difficult for them to recruit, because you don't want you signing every Tom, Dick and Harry and then making the social media looking like a joke. You want to someone who's capable and compatible, someone who's going to speak what you want your club to represent. So when you look at it, besides the players that we have, teams don't know where to look. Where's the experience? Who's listening? Who can talk the way we want? Who's got a good media influence, or who's pushing which it's very difficult. So for them, we can understand why sometimes the social media isn't to that par level. But I feel like with the years going, you're gonna start seeing OT now doing videos with Kaizer Chiefs there, even if it's just to market their soccer boots or whatever. You'll start seeing that as the years they come closer. But for now, I can't blame them too much, because as much as we can say this and this and that, the social media space isn't that big in terms of that are creating quality shows about football who are unbiased. It's very few shows, So once we can start having competition amongst us as content creators, now you have an influencer who's a big Amazulu fan, or influencer who's a big Chippa fan, or influencer who's a big Cape Town City fan. Then we'll start having those battles within those spaces where who does the best content creation. But for now, it's a hit and mash things. Besides the kids that have studied social media or media at school, he might have done media at school, but he doesn't know nothing about soccer. So why would you sign a player why would you sign a person like that to run your media team? So it's the balancing act of finding capable people, and we know with creating, you're not good on your CV. Your CV is the job you've done. I don't know how many videos, how many lives you've done, OT, but if any team comes to you and says, hey, we want to give you a contract, they're giving you a contract because what? You've done over 100 shows, and they've watched maybe even half of those shows, and they've seen that you have the capability to handle. But if I said to you, okay, now let's sign 16 influencers or content creators that are going to do media manager for all the rest of the team, how many can you name? How many can you name? So we must look at that versus the other teams. So for the big teams to try, like your Sundowns trying, Pirates trying, you give it to them. Chiefs trying, you give it to them. I remember when we used to have KCTV, Orlando Pirates TV, that was them trying something new. So also you must look at the viability. If I'm going to be spending 2 million on media, but I'm getting 200 views, what's the love-hate relationship? So a lot of things, a lot of factors come into that. So I understand why some teams, you don't hear nothing about cheaper. You don't even know if they have a media. You don't hear nothing. But then with the big teams, you'll hear a bit more with launching and social media posts. You'll have that a bit more. So,
but then can we trust those teams then to equip players? Just to go back, can we trust those teams to equip players to deal with it if they themselves don't understand it yet?
That's the nice thing about running your social media versus a person. So for a team, it's an entity, it's a business. A business, I feel like it's a more difficult thing to run because it's not a personality, it's not a person per se. It's an entity, and with an entity, you need a lot of different parts working for you. So it becomes difficult in that aspect. But with the player, like Khoza was saying, if his mental health is fine, if you can manage the mental health of the player, then you're fine. And I feel with that, with a huge array of references, and you don't need to go to a sports media coach. No, a soccer media coach, you can go to any sports media coach because he understands. You can even go to a singer, a person who does acting. You can go to those people that deal with the mental aspects of being famous and help them. So with helping a player and an individual is not as difficult because I feel we've already had this road a lot of times. We've already had a lot of famous soccer players, but it's the first time first time ever we have social media influencing our football to this degree. So really the entity will always have a difficult time adjusting, just like any company will have a difficult adjusting to the new norms. But with a player, I feel like it's a bit easier because we've already done this. It's already happened, even though there wasn't social media, but more famous or famous. If you're famous, you're famous. We used to see it in magazines and everything. So that I feel there's a lot of references and experience and people who can help in that aspect.
Okay. Kuma, do teams understand the type of power they have and using the type of power that they have with social media? Our local teams. You could just unmute there, Kuma.
I'm sorry, I seem to be having network problems. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you? Yeah, now I can only speak for my team because I'm a Sundowns supporter and I interact with Sundowns on all my social media platforms. So what my team does, am I audible?
Yeah.
Or should I
No, you're
come
audible.
down and
You're
come up
audible.
again?
You're audible.
Yeah, but I think I'm lagging a bit there.
Yeah, you're lagging.
Am I okay now?
You're lagging. Okay, it's fine. Let me bring Siabonga in the meantime. Try go off and come back.
I think it's fine now.
Oh, can you hear me proper now?
I don't see those things.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as I was saying, I interact with mainly Sundowns on all my social media platforms, and what I can tell you is that Sundowns seems to realize the power that social media has. It's a big power because of during games they interact with players directly, and whenever they launch something, they do Facebook Lives or Twitter Lives, and that's how they reach a broader audience as opposed to traditional media such as your radio and television. So not only that, they also do things like giveaways, scholarships for fans if they want to study, they do that, and also there are sponsors such as Puma, Herbalife, and whichever brands they have that also advertise on their social media as well. So yeah, like I said, Sundowns really does recognize the power that social media has, and are doing a phenomenal job using that platform.
Okay. I'm just afraid of this lag. Let me go to Siabonga. Siabonga, welcome. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good.
No, Ikran. Do our teams understand that social media has a lot of power? Do they understand how to use it?
Okay. First of all, guys, I'd like to apologize. I was so late today on the live. But
No
yeah,
stress,
I
no
think
stress.
teams do, yeah. I think they do realize the power of social media, right? But then the only problem that I have is that with players, especially not teams per se, or actually with teams and players. I think they should take advice from the pundits and also from the fans, because most of the time the criticism it doesn't come from a place of malice. Like let me make an example of a Junior Khanye, right? So we all know that Junior Khanye loves Kaizer Chiefs with all his heart. It's just that because he's an analyst, he's supposed to be biased, but if you listen to his analyst, you can tell that he really loves this club, right? Now the problem comes when we as fans we use the social media platforms to communicate or to express our feelings with like the big clubs, right? Now, let's say I support Amazulu, but let's say I support Kaizer Chiefs. You understand? And I'm not happy with who's the guy, the Black Panther, the striker. We forgot his name. Yes, Baminyimana, right? Like now, Baminyimana is an international player, but he cannot even like trap a ball. So I can criticize them, and I can also criticize Kaizer Chiefs and say, no, listen, guys, Kaizer Chiefs is a big club. You cannot sign an international player who can't trip a ball. Maybe if he was good at goal scoring like Shabalala, it doesn't matter if he's good at trapping or whatever. As long as he can score, it's fine. So I think most teams should like understand that with the internet, there's a good and the bad. Of course, the good is that we as fans like we express our feelings, and maybe sometimes we can come with solutions to the problems that they have, But then the bad thing is there are some fans who, I was like watching a few videos on YouTube, like looking at the game of Kaizer Chiefs against TX Galaxy. Instead of like giving like constructive criticism, which is, we talk about it, hey, what's a twat, we don't want what's a twat, you understand? Instead of saying, it's okay, listen, guys, we are a big club. We cannot play, maybe like we should like hire a technical director. We're going to stick to the style of play of Kaizer Chiefs. Because, like, as I was saying, like, look at this Junior Khanye, right? I won't mention like other guys like OTK because I feel like their platform is different to Junior Khanye's one, like idiskitv, right? Like most guys will say, Junior Khanye is talking nonsense, everything. But if you listen to him carefully, he's always spot on, bro. He's always spot on. For example, you're a Kaizer Chiefs. I remember when Stuart Baxter was coaching, I think it's Stuart Baxter or Hans.
Yeah.
Right? He said, like you cannot play with 7 defenders and expect to win. And I remember when Kaizer Chiefs was leading, I think they were ahead of Sundowns like 14 or 10 points. And he said they were going to lose. You understand? Now, obviously, we're saying that via social media, right? Because we're speaking about power of social media. We're saying that via social media. And people are going to say, oh, Spider-Man is hating, wada. But then, if you look at, like, not to say simply zero, but like using your head and think about it really, like, if your team doesn't have a style of play, you understand, and they're just playing proper goal, and you don't know how they scored, they just have clapped it from a wing back, and Bashaita Konali to a strike and then go. Like that team, maybe the style of play is good for a cup, but not for a league. Okay. So yes, so I think what we should do is, as much as some people use the social media to bash players, to bash coaches and all of that, but I think clubs they must listen to us as fans, and they must also listen to pundits because, as I'm saying, most of the time their comments like they're very valid. It's just that when you're emotional, sometimes you tend to not hear the most important things. For example, when they were talking about, I'm going to talk about Kaizer Chiefs because a lot of people support Kaizer Chiefs, right? And it's the last game I think I won. Yes, so, when people like, for example, Uto, we all know he was an exceptional player, and they'll make comments about in midfield of case. Listen, guys, okay, fine, you have the back four, you have the midfield, you have the forwards, but we do not understand in the midfield who's doing what. It's like the midfield is upset, and then obviously when the likes of is it Peterson, the goalkeeper of Kaizer Chiefs, because it's going to be like, people will say, Pitso is a bunch, he's making him own goals. But if you like really watch the replay, you realize actually like the midfield wasn't doing anything. The defenders were overwhelmed by the attack of idiski Galaxy. You understand? But then, but if as a player you don't know how to take criticism, because most of the guys mentioned, Guti, you are a professional player. You must be able to accept criticism. It's a part of life. You are a professional player. Let's be honest, guys. If you're earning like 100 G's a month, 100 G's a month, you must be able to talk criticism. You understand? You can't be saying, no, hey, I'm offended the Chiefs are phone because of 1-2. No. It doesn't work like that. You are a professional player. We're not professional. As part of being a professional, you must be able to take a criticism. You understand? I remember
I'm gonna ask you just that final point there. Sorry, just for time's sake.
Yeah, for example, like I remember when Fortune Makarenge took a criticism from the guys and they listened to them, and then he was scoring left and right and center. I think this was a year or 2 years ago, because he understood the part of social media. If I'm a fan, it's no, Makarenge, do 1, 2, 3, don't play side passes, go forward. Play those true balls, play in my pocket, shoot Magabutoli space. That's very important. So I think social media is it's good when it comes to that.
Okay, no, thank you, my brother. I'm looking at the time now, guys. Sinjay, can you give me a closing statement for today?
Look, great show as usual. I'm just hoping that we also could learn to use social media in a very productive way, in a very building way, in a very respectful way, without filtering the truth, without filtering what we feel like, with filtering what we've observed, because it's a means of communication. We are having a conversation. And I feel like teams as well could learn to uphold what is at the essence of social media. Use that to ensure to create also a nice a nice place for us to have this particular conversation. They must shy away from having this conversation with us as well, to promote connection between us as fans and them as the team and management as well. Media has the power of that, where you can speak directly to your audience, directly to the people that are following the club, directly to the people that love the club. So the more you are in sync with your supporters. That is why then you would also limit what we saw with ntseki being thrown bottles as well, because the fans don't understand why he is the coach, what's the plan, what is there to do. All we want him to win. Imagine if we could have not a media briefing, but like a social conversation such as this one with probably one of the members of the board of Kaizer Chiefs. We have what we are aiming for. This is why we had Ntseki come in. This is money that we have from him. Imagine then the support that will come with the supporters being in one with the team. Now they are there. Yeah, now we are using our platform to bash them. They are using their platform to defend the bashing that is coming from us. That is where my first comes in with social media.
Okay, no. Thank you so much, Sinjay. Senzo, closing statements for today.
Look, I feel with social media, there is obviously bad, and everything with growth will come with the bad. That it's never easy, but I feel like we should embrace it, especially for our football. I feel our football has so much potential, but it's barred by this secrecy and not opening the platform. There used to be this thing last year. I think last year, a year or two, they used to say bullying industry, also put us in, and I think that's what should happen for us to create the best content, for us to create the best footballers, for us to create. We need to compete, and competing is not a bad thing. When you compete, you take out the bad, and then you keep the good. So I feel like competitive place within this industry will be good. Yes, we'll have your front barriers, your OT, the guys that have been doing it the longest, they've started. They'll be the leaders of this, but we also need these new guys to come up on the side. We need guys to give OT a run for his money, so you can continue to make your content better. Because if also you OT, you're not getting competition, you're gonna become mediocre. You won't. Why do I have to go to the next level if I'm already I'm already running things, you know. So for us to get better in terms of finding better analysts, and we don't have to always be looking at these old players to tell us about soccer. Bendlal Bola 10 years ago, soccer's different now. So for me, let's embrace social media. Let's give everybody a chance. Let's listen to everybody. I think Khoza said it, that we don't have to listen to everybody. You don't have to like every show, but let's give people a chance. Let's see what this can do. I feel if we can embrace social media in our football, more than the disadvantages it would bring, I feel the advantages would bring for football would be so much better, and I feel we would save a lot more lives, a lot more football careers, a lot more players. A lot could be done in the benefits of it if we take social media and embrace it, you know.
Okay, no, thanks so much, Senzo. Guys, I'm 17 people away, 17 followers away from 29,000. Please, guys, help me out there. Kuma, closing statements for today.
Yes, man. I think platforms like yourselves, especially this shows in particular, shows the power of social media. If it wasn't for you, for your show, I wouldn't have made Siyabonga, Kuto, and the other panelists. I mean, like, we are different people. We are soccer fans, essentially, and we support different teams. So it shows the might and power and reach that social media has across everyone globally. And also, what I like about such shows, we spoke about different topics such as mental health, bullying and stuff. But in this show in particular, we never experienced such, even though we are different. We spoke freely and we were respectful, and that's how and there is the other side of social media that a lot of people don't embrace, which is love. And I want to thank people like you, and I encourage more people to have more platforms like this. And if we can continue doing what we do here, we really can improve soccer in a way, I think.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, my brother. Hey, Stia, I'm going to throw you the deep end, my brother. You're going to have to give me a closing statement, even though
Sure,
you didn't really have some time there.
Yeah, that's cool, bro. I understand. No, man, I just want to say that I think football clubs, né, they should use platforms like yours, even their own platforms, to communicate with their fans so that they can understand. I mean, listen, this is football we're talking about. Football needs patience, you know. So if you as a football club, you're not using social media to explain like your plans, you know, just to do like a diagram. So listen, gents, we hiring Spanba and coach this and that because we want to do 1, 2, 3, want to achieve. For example, if you look at Amazon, like when Ubabu Zungu bought the club, he said, listen, guys, I have a 10-year plan. You understand? Don't expect trophies now. No, like just give me 10 years. So even with all football clubs, if like they would participate in thingy, a platform like yours, to explain everything to our fans. Listen, guys, we planning to do 1, 2, 3. Just be patient. We want to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that we won't see things like the ones that happened in Bombela. You understand? Just to, like, if they will use social media to communicate better with us as fans, you know, I think that will be, you know, yeah, a good thing.
Okay, no, thank you so much, Sia. Next time we'll have more time. We'll have more time together. Let me see. NSB. So you have to be following me. So you follow while I'm live. Follow. Then at the bottom of the screen, there's a button there that says multi-guest. So you click on multi-guest and then you click on request. And what happens on my side is that I get a list of everybody who's requested, and then I can let you guys in and we can speak. But yeah, we've been at it for a little bit of time now. So all I'll say is here's my closing statement. And guys, 15 people, just follow. 15 people follow. Help me get to 29,000. What I will say is, as somebody who has one of these platforms, as somebody who does this, I think the hardest thing is balancing. There's a balancing act that we have to do where, like, for example, if you listen to any of my criticisms, I may sound emotional, I may sound whatever, but I'm never going to cross a line. So I'll tell you why ntseki, I don't want him to be there, or I'm not feeling ntseki being hired. It's never going to be me coming here and saying, hey, F this, F that, ntseki. It's a balancing act. And then I also realized from my end, especially with this platform, that, you know what, let's have places where all of us can come in and speak. You know, I may not be right about everything, and I understand that I'm not right about everything, but sometimes you even just need to see the different perspectives of different people, you know. I think clubs, on the club side, I think the clubs don't realize that, you know, a lot of the things that you can save a lot of money, you can do a lot of crowd work, bringing people in, embracing people, just by small little things, you know, that you can implement in order to help out, you know. I don't think social media is a bad thing, you know. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think what everybody needs to learn is that when you open the door for everybody to be able to contact you, for everybody to be able to access it, for everybody to be able to have their say, you're not going to be able to control everything. And if you come into these spaces thinking that I'm controlling and I don't want people to say this, I don't want people to say that, you're going to be very surprised, especially even on the player side, where the players, the same power that sells jerseys, that puts you on TV, that gives you deals, that does this, is also the same power that can crumble you, you know, that can do all of that stuff. So they have to be very careful when dealing with that, you know. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong for Junior Khanye to have an opinion, for Luyolo to have an opinion, for Ulen, UTK, whoever else to have opinions and all of that stuff, you know. But it comes with the territory, guys. I don't know what to say. I was playing devil's advocate now, and I was saying you need to know how to do whatever, but it comes with the territory. You know, I can't publicly put my thoughts onto this platform and then be surprised if there's going to be people that come in and hate, or people that say certain things, or people who don't have control of, or who don't want to be respectful or whatever, you know. That's part of what I signed up for by making these things public. So also the players, it's the same shandis. Guys, you are, I remember thinking of Granit Xhaka. I don't know if you guys remember Granit Xhaka. There was that moment where he took his armband off and he threw it on the ground, and then came out and he said, hey, fans are saying this and they're doing this, and there's death threats and whatever. And it's like, yes, you are one of the faces of one of the biggest brands in the world, right? There's literally tens of millions of fans who are there, who watch you every day, who understand what you do, who love you. There's a reason why your jersey sells out, right? There's a reason why you get to go on holiday in certain places. There's a reason why you get to play in stadiums that people could only dream of playing in front of fans, and do something that people only dream of doing. But part of that is that at some point, if you do something wrong, or even sometimes if you haven't done anything wrong, there'll be haters. There'll be fans that are not controllable, all of that stuff, you know. So let's also keep that in mind, you know. But I do understand that part of my responsibility, or at least a responsibility I've placed on myself, is to make sure that, you know what, this place is respectful. We all speak to each other. We're not going to be out here swearing at each other and doing all that stuff. I'm not going to impose my thoughts on you. You're not going to impose it. We're here to have conversations and, more importantly, learn. I may have a point of view that you don't have. You have a point of view that I don't have. Yesterday we had Coach Busmuzi on. He came in and he gave us a perspective from the coaches, a very honest perspective from a coach's side, where now you understand some of the things they deal with, some of the things we deal with. And he even said that, you know, he learned some stuff from us too. So let's create more of these places. And yeah, that's what I have to say. Diva, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't let you in now because of time. But like I say, I do this Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. So I'll be back again at 8 p.m. We're probably going to speak about the Sundowns match, but I'll make a space, Diva, if you'll join me, where we can speak about some of the important things that you are going to say now. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I can see you guys don't want to give me 14 followers, guys. Just 14 people. And I reached my 29. Thank you so much to the panels. Thank you so much to Kumo, Zcash, for gifting everybody, for engaging. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you do want to watch any of the previous episodes and see and see what we've spoken about previously and before, you can head on over to Facebook and onto YouTube. All of them are there. There's also other content there, so you can also catch up on anything we've done. Diva, I'm so sorry. It would have been amazing to have you on, but join me. We'll make it a topic for another day, because I do want to speak about media in general as well. So we'll work it in. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys then tonight at 8. Facebook, thank you guys also for your support and for supporting me. Let me read some of these comments while I'm here. Social media now football can be seen as both positive and negative, Sedu Vandedom. When it's used as a tool to inform, it can be good, but once it's used to inflict conflict, hatred, and biasness, it can be really bad. At the same time, it provides good engagement between club and the supporters. I so wish sometimes we South Africans can be positive in terms of our comments. Some supporters can be rude. My question is, Wood Junior is not coaching in Vela League or PSL since he knows football. Villa is better because he's coaching, doesn't always have to be negative, gives credit where it's due. Hey, look, I'm also a fan. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a fan. I get emotional. But the one thing that I want you guys to hear when I'm speaking is, I will tell you why. I'm not going to come here and swear. I'm not going to come here and do whatever. I'll tell you why. When you speak about ntseki, I don't hate ntseki. I question that as somebody who's been at the club for so long, in the different positions and whatever, and had a hand, I expect a little bit more from you because you're not coming in new. When we spoke about Uata, at the very beginning, my only thing about Uata was, Uata is also very new to being a head coach. Being an assistant to being a head coach are two different things. So now there's certain things that you're going to have to deal with. And I felt that it's unfair to basically throw him into the deep end like that, right? Teams like Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, you need to have some experience in dealing with the other things. It's not the game that kills you at Chiefs. It's not the game that kills at Pirates. It's not the game that kills you or might kill you at Sundowns, right? It's all of the other things that you have to be a very good manager, right? And all of those things feed into it. And it was unfair to throw Arta into there completely alone. Dylan is also not that. Look at Rulani. Rulani at Sundowns has Umangoba somewhere there behind him as somebody who's been head coach, who's dealt with media, who's dealt with this, who's done this, who's touched that, who's touched this, right? When you're doing it for the first time, have somebody that's going to help you. I feel the same way about Shabalala, all those guys. You can't just throw me in, right, and expect. So that's where my criticism comes from. It's not a criticism that comes from, I hate him or whatever. You think about these things, you listen to these things. When you criticize the players, I can tell you why I'm criticizing the player, what I expect from the player, what I saw from the player. It's never going to be, this one is just like this. I'll tell you, last game, Mart, we've seen Martin's tab in midfield. We wanted to get a central defensive midfielder. So when you're playing a game and everybody's gone and Mart is the central defensive midfielder again, when we've seen, right, it's not his problem. But now I'm criticizing you because you are now here, and I'm criticizing the coaches for saying you guys saw this and you're not doing anything, right? So everybody holds their bag, but it'll never be like empty. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you have not followed on this account, followed this page, please, please, please follow the page.